Well, hello and welcome back. This is Amanda with Molly Cole Creations. We are here with a new video this week, and I'm doing something just a little bit different in that primarily most of these projects are done using my Cricut. So I'm going to kind of show you start to finish. Some of you viewers may not be interested in this at all because you already know how to do everything and anything on a Cricut. But some of you might enjoy watching the process of how one gets from start to finish when creating their design. So this is where we are starting, and on this one I am using a Hobby Lobby blank, and what I have done first and what I will do first in every project is select a shape, and you can see that there in the white. And then I went through, I wanted to make some floral stems, so I had to kind of search for different wording, I searched for bouquets at first, and then I finally searched for grow where you are planted and found this one. Now I didn't want the actual lettering, so what we do for that, since they won't let you ungroup it, you go into contour, and this is what we're doing here. You can contour two different ways in that right panel there, and you can also contour right there. You can see I missed a couple of pieces on my first go around, so I just went back in and contoured again. Now you can see I'm still missing a couple of pieces, so I go back into contour once again and select those, and there you have it. Now you can see my wood blank there, that is white. This isn't going to fit. So I went looking for another little design, and I wanted to say something about like my happy place or happy at home, and we found this little one here that was kind of perfect because it was the right dimensions, and it kind of went along with my little flower stem thing that we had going on. Now, as you can see, these flowers don't fill up the length of my sign. So, what I do is I go back into contour. There's two ways you can do this. I ended up going with the other route, but I'm just going to show you both ways in case you choose to do so. So you can go back in, you can contour all the things you don't want out. But in my mind, I'm like, well, I want to contour out most of it. So instead, I grab this block, just a square, essentially, and I group those together and I slice. So that enables me to get rid of a big chunk all at once. I'm only keeping 2 flowers from this bunch. So I slice twice, and this second slice that I keep, it wasn't as clean, but it does enable me to keep most of it fairly simply. As you can see, we're going to slice again, and we are going to slice again, and then it will save us from having to do all that contouring over and over and over again. Now I'm going to get rid of all these things, delete, 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 and then we just have 2 little pieces to contour, or 3, I guess, no big deal. So there you have it, and I did miss those little inner buds, so, but there you go. So we have now our full flower stem lineup that I go ahead and group together and attach. And that is basically how we set our first little sign up. Measurements are important. I did delete, or hide, in fact, that blank that we used. No, I didn't want it to print this way because it went downward into a longer mat. So I did actually unattach, and I attached just the flowers, and I left this, our happy place, separate, so I could just use my 12 by 12 mat. So there's different ways you can do it. I am choosing stencil vinyl, which I already have saved, but if you didn't, as you can see, you can go up here to browse all materials and type in stencil material, and there you will find it. And then you're going to go ahead and cut it out, and that is what you'll be ending up with. I did use actual stencil material. You could cut this on vinyl, you could cut it on either permanent or removable vinyl. You know, if you had a color you didn't really like, you could do that. I just happen to have a really big roll of stencil vinyl, so that's what I'm doing. You just have to be mindful of where you are weeding and what you are weeding. In this case, I wanted just the very outlines of everything, so it was a bit intricate, and I didn't realize I needed those 2 extra flowers until I had kind of got going. That I did add to the beginning of this tutorial when I was showing you in Cricut, but I didn't figure it out until I had already laid all this out. So that's why you don't see them here, but no big deal. Anyhow, I'm using a sponge brush, stenciling everything on. You could have done, and I did contemplate doing like our happy place in a different color, maybe that little flower over there a different color, but in the end I decided just to keep it very simple. I went with this green color. This paint is by DIY. It is called Waverly. It's a very nice green. It dries lighter, that as all DIY paints do, but you can see I am just using the bare outlines, which just makes it so simple and delicate. I just love it. And I'm kind of slowly but surely, I mean, I've put away my Easter stuff, obviously, since Easter is over, but I still have some very, I wouldn't say Easter specific, but, you know, spring, like I still have some bunnies out. I still have some pretty obvious spring items that won't transition, and we are moving into summer here, so I'm kind of going a little bit more neutral for now. I want to bring in lemons, I want to bring in the bees, and of course then we are going to set up for 4th of July. And this is how this one turned out. I love it. I think it is so beautiful and classic and simple. And we are going to move on to DIY number 2, project number 2. Again, back in Design Space, we are setting up for our second project, and this one we are using a white, I think it's ceramic pitcher from Hobby Lobby as our blank. So what I'm looking for is like a fresh flower market, something along those lines. But, so I liked this one, but what I wanted is the white to come through for the lettering. So what I did is I grabbed a shape the same size as what I'm cutting the decal as, and I aligned them both ways just to make sure it was perfect, and then I went to combine and subtract. Well, that didn't work, but I figured out the reason why it didn't work is because I need to put the black circle behind, and then you can do the combine and subtract. And then look how cute that is. So when I apply the decal, everything is going to, all the letters will be white because the picture is white. So I thought that was really fun, and that is so simple. I mean, that's literally nothing, not even much of a tutorial, only I learned something new, that it does matter in the order that your items are layered. And somehow there is no footage of me weeding this, and by the way, it was a huge pain to weed. Yeah, that was not fun. But anyway, there is not any footage of me weeding it or applying it, but I just used some transfer tape, and there it is. I think it looks beautiful. Those flowers are, I couldn't remember, I've had them for a very long time because they're very long, which in this case they turned out perfect. But I do think they were from Hobby Lobby. Project number 3, we are not using Cricut. We are using Canva, which I use Canva for a multitude of things. It is so handy. If you don't have a Canva membership, you should definitely get one. I do think they have free options. Mine is paid because I like to use it to save SVGs. Anyways, so I had Googled, I wanted to do like a little Highland Cow that everyone has been doing. So I Googled and saved this image, and I think she is so beautiful. Look how cute she is with all those flowers. So I uploaded her to Canva. Now I'm using a Dollar Tree canvas. So all I had to do was measure where I wanted my printer to print, essentially. And the Dollar Tree canvases have like about a 1/2 inch of frame once you dissect them, and you'll see. I guess I'm not describing it very well. It'll be easier to understand when you see it. But I did make this lengthwise, or landscape, and I set this frame up to give a 1/2 inch border, essentially, all around, and so that my printer would know where I wanted it to print. And it does print the lines, but they don't print very dark, and I figured out kind of a way to disguise them a little bit. Plus, the frame essentially covers them up anyhow. So it's all good. Then we download this. I did download this one just as a PNG. I am just printing it to my regular printer, which was scary. I have never put anything regular copy paper, printer paper, in my printer. But it was also like really neat to see what an amazingly good job it did. So here we are with our Dollar Tree canvas. We've all seen people pull these apart. It was a bit of a struggle using kind of a flat screwdriver head to loosen them, and then this plier thingy to pull the staples out. And there were a few I couldn't quite get out, so I just tore it, but it was all good in the hood. Then I taped it onto just like a sheet of paper. Like I said, well, I actually used washi tape because it is just a little bit thinner, and plus it was handy, and it doesn't stick as much as like painter's tape would probably, but it definitely worked. So we get all of that taped up, and we're going to feed it through our printer, just on our printer settings. I did kind of trace, this clip should have gone before, because this is where I traced out how much size I had to work with. But that's how I did that, and that kind of gets rid of that ugliness too, of where I had to pry and rip staples from the frame. But we are going to go ahead and stain this frame up. I'm just using the Waverly wax paint, or the antique wax, and mixing it with water, as I do. And I'm just kind of applying that as a wood stain. And then I do add another element to this frame as well. But that is the base that I am getting started with. And just making it look finished, doing the sides, the back, the front. I also did stain a little bit in the corners of the canvas. And look how cute that cow is. Oh my gosh. I could have like 10 of these. They're so cute. Anyways, for this one, we are just using, it's called, I guess I just showed it to you, but now I can't remember, Old and Gray. It is a weathered wood stain, but it has a bit of a gray, or yeah, I guess it's a bit of a gray tint to it. And I really thought it was going to look nice with this canvas, so I was excited. You can see because I did apply the stain around the edges, it kind of got wet, I guess, and kind of crinkled up. So I did have to iron it. I don't think I show it here, but I just pulled out my little mini Cricut iron and ironed it down. And then when I start applying these staples to the back, which you could probably use hot glue, I just didn't. I don't love hot glue like some people do. But anyhow, I stretch it just as much as I can after ironing to get that canvas stretched flat and to make everything look aligned where it should. And I think this is turning out really beautiful. I kind of wish like I had a bigger one. This one is, you know, as I said, it's an 8 by 10 or 8.5 by 11. But I really would like a big one for my family room. But anyhow, if you're interested in this Canva tutorial, I wouldn't even really call it a tutorial. There is so much you can do on Canva. I make all my thumbnails, all my opening and end screens. I do a lot of stuff with Canva. You can create SVGs with them as well to use with the Cricut. So if you ever want more of that, just leave a comment and I'll walk you through whatever I'm doing, because I'm using it all the time. And look at that beauty. Isn't she cute? I love her. Project number 4. So we are again going to grab a shape. This is primarily what you do every time when you start. You got to know what size you're going to make things. So originally I grabbed just a rectangular and kind of sized it up. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. Cricut has a tag, which is essentially what I am making. I cut out a wooden tag with my laser machine, and I kind of sized it up. It was essentially the same size as the rectangle was anyways. So, and this brown color is like ugly, but it's just kind of to visualize it being stained essentially. Now I am looking for the little farm stack animals. Everyone I'm sure has seen them, but I was specifically wanting these with the little leaf cutouts. You can get the plain ones and do that too, but I was specifically interested in this one. And originally I thought I was gonna put something like farm fresh or homegrown, something like along the top, like in a curved manner, which there are a ton of them. Farm fresh everywhere. And so that was kind of my original thought. I found one that I wanted, and I saw a really cute one with the bees and Christmas trees. I mean, there's so many cute ones, but this is the one that I selected. And I could have just gone this route for the entire thing, but I didn't. So here we go again with our contouring. And this one's pretty simple because all I want to keep are the letters and that little middle greenery and the heart. So this one is really easy to contour just about everything else out, right? You could even click on hide all contours and then open back the ones that you do want to keep. So I just finish up with that, and then I kind of get a look at it. I place it over the top of my little animals, enlarge it. I don't know. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want any lettering. So I go back in and I get rid of all the letters. But I do keep that little sprig and heart in the middle because I thought that was really cute. I liked that. Made it just a bit bigger. And I grouped everything together and attached it. Go ahead and hide the tag because we're not going to cut that. We're sending it to our Cricut. And once again, we are going to use stencil vinyl. Go ahead and get that cut out. And here we are. I am getting the little tag ready. This is the tag that I cut. I just cut it on MDF. And if you ever need any blanks cut, always reach out to us. We can cut things up for you. I know a lot of people find stuff at the Dollar Tree or at Michael's or any craft store. They always have this kind of stuff. And that's awesome. I don't always find it. Plus, I don't like to shop. I don't go out that much. So it's easier for me just to kind of cut what I need. But I know there are a lot of craft stores, Michael's and Hobby Lobby, and even the Dollar Tree are great resources to get this kind of stuff. Now I am using, actually the paint was from Renew and Redo as well. It's a different brand. I'm trying out different paints, y'all, and seeing kind of which name brand that I really like and which way I want to go with that. This is a wax, and it is also with the Renew and Redo line. I will link them both below, the colors. And I recently redid my TV stand. We had a super old TV stand, like not cute at all. And I kind of wanted to get rid of it. I kind of wanted to just get something new. But you know, I don't really have the money to spend on that right now, and it's not that important. So, you know, I can't make it any worse, right? By trying to redo it and give it a little uplift in life. And it ended up actually turning out really, really cute. But I did use this Renew, and I wish I could remember the name of it. Renew and Redo, I don't know. Anyways, but it was really nice paint. And it's not a chalk paint. It's self-sealing. So yeah, I quite enjoyed it. This is our little stencil that we just got, the Farmhouse Stack. So I'm just kind of showing you that I am weeding it out, trying to keep those leaves down. Of course, that is the whole point of them. And it's a little intricate, but it does weed pretty well. It's not really all that tricky. And it's turning out really cute already. I'm like, oh, look at the little piggy. Look at the little piggy. And we have chickens, so my heart is already with the chickens. So I just pulled out, this was kind of a scrap transfer tape, so I'm trimming it down to fit our piece here and get that laid down on our tag. And our tag turned out beautiful. I do love the streaks of that wax in it, and it makes it look layered and blended, and like we're working with something besides MDF, which there's nothing pretty about MDF. You gotta make it pretty. But it is easy wood to work with, so that's why we use it, right? So I'm getting all this sealed or set onto the transfer tape. I scrape the front, scrape the back, use my Cricut tool, burnishing tool, get it on there good, and then we remove the transfer tape. It comes off with no problem, and we lay that down. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I could have measured, but I didn't. You could measure, but I didn't. So we get this down and laid out. Looks pretty good to me. And I go ahead and use the little, I'm using a gift card. Actually, I'm not even I think I said a Cricut tool. I'm literally using a gift card to some cookie place. So use what you have. And you can see I kind of broke a piece there down at the bottom on the cow. But that's okay. I do put it back. One little leaf, when I was removing that transfer tape, came up right with it. I'm putting the transfer tape back. We will use that for another project. It's a big piece to waste, so we are not going to waste it. Then I used that same paintbrush because I kind of wanted to mix the cream that I used for the back with this green DIY paint. It's called Ivory. And I thought it would just be a really soft way to apply the green using that same brush that still had some of that cream in it, but has enough green as well to give that dimension. And it actually kind of turns out just the way I envisioned it. So I'm pretty pleased with that decision. So we get the stenciling done. We're pulling up the transfer tape. We're going to have to weed all of those little leaves off. So this is kind of tedious, but pretty much worth it, right? Look how beautiful. And you could do this, like, these would have been cute. Like, I know chickens and pigs and cows aren't green. Like, I know that. You could have done all this in black or brown. But you know what? This is what I wanted to do. It's going in my house, and that's what I wanted. Y'all can do anything you want. It's your house. You do it how you like it too, right? But yes, I am aware that these animals are not actually green. But I think it's really cute. Then I glued on that little circle, like, I don't know, I call it, it's kind of like a washer, but not. And then I'm just using some burlap ribbon. I flipped it upside down because I tie my bows backwards, so it's easier for me to tie things upside down. But that is how it looks. How cute. I love it. And it's not real big. It's not real small. It's going to go perfectly in our little shelves. Okay, y'all, this is project number 5 and our final project for this video. We are taking a 12-inch round. This round did come from Hobby Lobby. I am staining it, or rather I am using the Waverly Antique Wax with water mixture. I'm going to let that dry while I set the project up into Cricut Design Space. So I have grabbed a circle shape. I have made it 12 inches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the bottom part of the circle white. So I'm trying to get that shape to kind of set in there so that I can then design the wording that I'm going to use. So this isn't perfect, and it doesn't need to be, and I probably fooled around with it a little bit longer than I needed to. So then I go over to text, and I'm going to type out the word home. And I already kind of had an idea of what font I wanted to use, and so I typed in the name of it, and I had to go into system because it's not a Cricut font. It's called Brittany. Brittany something. I will link the names of the fonts in the description box for you if you're interested. But I like this one particularly when I'm doing something a little bit bigger because it is a very thin font. So if you're doing something really small, it's not going to look as good. And then this one I am using... Oh, shoot. I don't remember the name of this font either. Or if it was a Cricut font. Anyways, either way, I will link them both. I'll actually just link all these projects as well. In case there's something you want to use in it, it'll be easy for you to click on. Home is my favorite word there is. Now, I did get this from, or this little saying, and kind of the entire idea from a different YouTuber. I think she probably made it like during quarantine. And I know nobody's quarantining anymore, but I am just such a homebody, quarantine or not. I like to be at home. If I don't have to go anywhere, I don't. And I know that's kind of weird, and people think I'm like kind of weird, like a hermit or something. But I truly just enjoy my space. I like being at home. I'm comfortable there, and I don't like to shop a whole lot. That's why I do a lot of online shopping. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll take a trip to the Dollar Tree or the Hobby Lobby when I need to. But home really is where I like to be. Now, I hid the circle and the white and grouped everything together. I did not weld, which is that little note that I left there for you. You should weld the word home, at least the O-M-E, and I'll show you why. You won't really be able to see it on camera that well, but I could see it once I did it. When I realized I had forgotten to do it. Weld will make those cursive letters connect different than attaching them, which is what I did. I attached them, but so they still cut out kind of as separate letters. And it's not really noticeable enough that I recut it. But if I was giving it to someone or selling it, I definitely would not have used it. And if you guys can see it, I will definitely point it out. I'm not sure if it's visible on camera or not, but I have a little boxwood wreath that I keep up year round, and it hangs on one of our hooks on our, I don't know what they call it. We put our, there's cubbies beneath, we put our shoes, there's hooks. My kids hang their backpacks and their jackets. I have a couple little baskets for like their mittens and hats and umbrellas during the winter. But anyways, in the middle of it, I hang a boxwood wreath all year long, and then I change it up for the season. So for now, I want to just kind of have a neutral vibe going, but still springy, kind of summery, till I bring in those lemons. I'm not like super trendy. Probably lemons were like trendy like 2 years ago. Well, I still like lemons. So yeah, that's that. Now, you don't have to weed everything. I know you watch some YouTubers or creators that can just weed everything all in one shot. Well, I can't. So don't be afraid to weed a little bit as you go, especially with two different fonts. One's quite a bit bigger than the other. And what we don't want is to have that excess vinyl either pick up what you've already weeded and ruin it, or pick up the words, the letters, or the design you haven't weeded yet. So don't be afraid to just do things little by little. Keep it simple. And don't get ahead of yourself. There's no problem with just doing things little by little as you go. And I want to say the person that I watched, that I got this little saying from, is Whitney from Whiskey and Wit. No, Whiskey and Wit. Her name is Whitney. And I love watching her channel. She has a lot of tutorials. In fact, I've learned a lot from her over the years. I wanted to even maybe change, or at first I was going to say home is my favorite place to be. But then I remembered years ago she did this one. Home is, so I just thought that might be a little bit different. But gotta give credit where credit is due. And I think she even made a blog post with this wording. I don't think it's not the same as mine. I don't know what fonts she used. I did create my own. I'm not going to completely have her do all the work for me, but you definitely could if you wanted to use her design and sign up for her blog. I think it is free. But I will also link this one if you have Design Space. And I'll also just note the fonts in case you have a different program, you know, Silhouette, or I use Silhouette Business Edition quite a bit as well for my laser cutting. So I do work with a bunch of different programs, so I'm just trimming this up just a bit, saving as much as the transfer tape as I can. And this is just so simple. Come on, are you kidding me? How easy is this? All of these DIYs, I mean, are so inexpensive. And, you know, I know a lot of creators, like Cricut was like a big deal, like maybe a couple years ago. I don't know. I've had mine, I want to say, for 3 years. And I still love my Cricut. I love the stamps and the molds and all the new things that everyone's got too. I think those are so fun, and it's just so beautiful and creative to have so many different ideas and outlets to make our homes the way that we want them, or to create nice things to sell. But I noticed that some of these creators haven't touched their Cricut since they got onto the stamps and the transfers and the paint inlays, and that's okay. But my Cricut isn't going anywhere, and I am going to keep using my Cricut. I love my Cricut, and I'm going to keep using it. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. I pulled out some ribbon. I'm just doing kind of a lazy 8 tie with some twine, scrunching it up. I wanted to use a little bit of the burlap, and then I wanted to use some of the buffalo check as well. And I just kind of layered them together because I thought that would be super cute. And you know what? I love buffalo check. that also, in my mind, is not going out of style. Might be for some of y'all, but not for me. It will never go out of style for me. Buffalo check goes with every season, every holiday, all the things. Now, these are from the Dollar Tree. And I've just had them. I don't know. I didn't buy them this year. I'll bet they still have them. I don't know what they're called. I did show the tag, but I can't read it now. Just yellow flowers. And I typically do not enjoy using hot glue. I avoid it whenever I can, especially on a sign like this. However, this is not going outside. So I feel okay about using hot glue on it. Normally I would probably drill a hole and use zip ties. But this is just for me, and I'm just going to wrap around everything with twine. I'm going to glue it down. I'm just keeping it simple and easy, and hot glue can always, if I wanted to change this up at some point, I certainly could. But I don't know that I will, because I love it how this turned out. And it's perfect for summer, too. Like, it's not just spring to me. I think it's super summer. So I kind of hold the glue there. La, la, la. Let it dry. We do the same thing with the burlap and the buffalo check ribbons. I hold that there. Let that glue harden up just so long as it is good and stuck. And I trim the edges. I don't know if I show you. Oh yeah, I do. So I cut the edges in that, I don't know, what do they call it? Dove's tail? Anyway, cut the angle. You cut it from the out and go up to get that dove's tail look. And look how cute. I think it is so cute. And I'll show you in my wreath how it looks. And this will stay here probably until the 4th of July. I'll probably do something. But look how cute. I might add some lemons to it when I start my lemon decor. But here we are with everything that we created in this video. Our little flower canister pitcher pot, our wreath, and everything looks so nice. Flowers, stems, our Highland Cow. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, that thing is so adorable. Who can resist that Highland Cow face? I want to put it everywhere. Our farm animal stack. Now, these are just very simple, very inexpensive, nothing super original, but it just goes to show you like what you like, and you make what you want to make your house a home. Thanks, y'all. I will see you guys next time, and thanks again for joining me. I hope you're having a great week.